Welcome to the hottest movie review on the internet today, the A-List Review. I am your host, the Game Changer, Wes Troop, and it's time for another Viewer's Choice review. I gave you guys 4 options to pick from, and this is the one you chose. This is a film that I was interested in rewatching because I was thinking the first time I reviewed it, I got it wrong. We're going to hop back into our mint-flavored time machine and travel back to the year 2011 to check out the superhero action comedy, The Green Hornet. My review, coming up now. Following the sudden death of his father, Britt Reed, heir to his dad's large newspaper publishing company, teams up with his father's assistant, who was in charge of his cars and made his coffee, Kato, to become a masked crime-fighting duo and want to make the public believe that they're the bad guys. So what did I think of The Green Hornet? I thought it's a mediocre and tedious superhero comedy film. It's based on the 1930s radio series, film serials, and 60s television show, which introduced American audiences to Bruce Lee, who played Kato. The film is directed by Michel Gondry, who's best known for directing the films Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind and Be Kind Rewind, which is a surprise because this film looks bland. It's co-written by the team of Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who have had many successes, from Superbad and Pineapple Express all the way to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. But this is a low point, even to where Rogen has called the film a nightmare. It's a project that had been in developmental hell since the early 1990s, with names attached to it from Kevin Smith, Nicolas Cage, George Clooney, and Jake Gyllenhaal. With all of the big names that committed to this final project, it had a lot of potential, but it flops in multiple departments, some being miscasts, from the director to Rogen and even Cameron Diaz. I enjoyed the film the first time I saw it back in 2011, and now on a rewatch 13 years later, I'll twist my thumb with this needed critical reappraisal. Most of the action feels generic, with the usual explosions, average car chases, and slapstick fights. The laughs are hit and miss, and while I remembered laughing pretty regularly the first time, this time I only chuckled a few times and rolled my eyes at the comedy more than not. The dialogue also doesn't sound like things actual humans would say to each other. There are a couple of fun moments with the car in an office building, the use of Kato vision during his brawls, and a couple cool death scenes. It tries to be a superhero flick and buddy comedy, but doesn't get the blend or either element quite right. We get the typical superhero origin story and tropes we've seen hundreds of times over. All the twists in the plot are predictable as well. Of course, tension comes between the two crime fighters as their egos and both being romantically interested in Britt's secretary, Lenore, cause the usual third act bromance breakup. While the duo have some decent chemistry, Britt is a very unlikable character, and he's mostly a slow-witted, sexist womanizer who doesn't really change or learn anything by the end of the journey. The villain, Chudnovsky, is going through an identity crisis and worried he's not scary enough, but he's forgettable overall. Clocking in at 2 hours, the film feels a lot longer than it actually is, and sags in the pacing department quite a bit. I did enjoy a few selections from the soundtrack, from the Rolling Stones track Live With Me, David Bowie's Heroes, and of course, Gangsta's Paradise from Coolio. Seth Rogen stars as Britt Reed, the billionaire newspaper publisher who moonlights as the masked crime fighter, the Green Hornet. Jay Cho as Kato, a mechanic, martial arts expert, and Green Hornet's partner and valet. Cameron Diaz as Lenore Case, Reed's secretary he and Kato start to become romantically interested in. Christoph Waltz as Chudnovsky, the Russian gangster trying to create a super mafia. Tom Wilkinson as James Reed, Britt's stern, wealthy father and successful newspaper publisher, and David Harbour as Frank Scanlon, the DA. The Green Hornet has a few moments of fun, but overall, it's all buzz and no sting. Number-wise, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10, which gives it the A-list rating of meh. It's okay. All right, well, that's the show. I'll be back with another review very soon, and make sure you vote on the next Viewer's Choice pick. But until then, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube, youtube.com/westside515. Like the show on Facebook, facebook.com/westtroopaylist. And of course, you can follow me on the Instagram and Letterboxd @WestAlist. Until next time, Troop out.